Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Masechtas Nedarim daf Pei Tes. We are going to begin on the bottom of Pei Ches Mud Beis, the bottom by the Mishnah Masnisa. The pasuk says, "V'neder almana u'gerusha yokum oleha." It tells us regarding a woman who is either a widow or divorced that her neder remains. Now, the question with that is, it seems to be quite obvious. Says the Ran, "Devadi krol hachiyasa." It must be coming to tell us something. The ibulo nises. Ever talking about a situation where she was never married, she was not nesuin. Lum isakra. You would not need a pasuk lomer to yakum leha pshita. Again, her husband had died, or she's divorced. So in these situations, if we're talking about nesuin, well, first of all, the husband is not alive, or he's divorced, so he has no shaychus. And the father also, once nesuin is done, the father has no rights either. She's considered to be like a yesoma b'chaya ha'av. So says the Ran, man mefer law. Elvade nises itzrach loimer. It's come to tell you, hivan shenadar ba'oido almana, that she made the neders, we're going to see in the Mishnah, while she was an almana. Even if she says, I want it to be chal after 30 days, we're going to see that it will not help, even if she's married. We don't go at the time that it was chal, we don't go by the chalois, but rather at the time of the amira, which is the time when she was a widow. And she made this neder before she got married. We know, as Rashi also says this, that a husband is not able to make a hafara on a neder that was made before they were married, before Erison, before anything, as a panuya, and then she walks into the marriage. It doesn't work. So this is the Mishnah. Ketzah. So what exactly is this coming to tell you? So Amra Harin in Nazira. Let's say she makes a vow saying she's going to become a Nazir. Not now, but in 30 days. So there is an Amira now, and then there's a Chalois 30 days later. Even let's say she gets married during that time, the husband doesn't have the ability to be made for this neder. Why? Because we go Basar Shas Amira, says the Ran. Azlinan Bein L'Kul Bein L'Chomer. You can go lean or strict. Here we're going strict, and we're saying that he cannot be made for this neder, because at the time that it was done, she was not married, and as we said, Ein Habal made for B'Kaidman. Even though the truth is they're married now before they got married, and then it was Chal afterwards. So maybe you would think that it works, that he has the ability to be made for it. No. As we continue to pay Testament Aleph. How about the following case? Nadra v'hi b'rshus habal. Let's say she makes a neder, and she's currently in the rishus of her husband. It says Rashi shehaisa nesua. So she was married at the time of the amira, v'hefer lo bal, and the husband wants to be made for it. So the din is Nadra v'hi b'rshus habal made for law. We say that he can. So Ketzan, what's the chiddush? Amra, if she said at the time when she's still she's married, Hareini Nazira, La'achar Lamid. I'm going to be a Nazira, this neder will be chal in 30 days from now. So the Amira while she was married, but the chalos was only afterwards. Alvabi, Shinas Almanu Niskarsha B'Soich Lamid Harizem Mufar. Even if it's true, let's say that she becomes an almana, or she's a gerusha, within those 30 days, we don't say we go basa chalois, but rather we go basa the amira. At the time that she said it, she was married, in which the husband had a right to be able to be made for the neder, therefore he can, which I guess would be considered a kula. Okay. Nadra boba yain. Let's say she made a neder today, and a lot happened on this day. But this garsha boba yain, she gets divorced on the same day that she made a neder, and then hechzira boba yain, and she ends up marrying the same guy, the same chassan, on the same day. So she was married, got divorced, and then got remarried. So ein yochel hafer. We say that even though he now is it's b'yom shemoi, it's the same day, he's not able to be mefer. Says the Ran. So Nedarim b'yom shenises, on the day she got married, she made a neder, and we said v'ukam b'perik naira hamarasa shenises in his garsha b'yom. Let's say she got married and divorced on that day. V'chziru b'yom, she got remarried to the same guy in yochel hafer. So this man is not able to be mefer. Shein habal mefer b'koidman. First of all, because the husband can't be mefer b'koidman, because this neder took place before he married her. V'i hach chazar de erison. So that's if it was nesuin. If let's say the chazar is the erison b'chudhi nami in yochel hafer b'shut v'sa'av. He would not be able to, even by erison, he could not do it, because we know in Nar HaMarasa, the din is it's not just the man who has to be married, for the father has to do it together with him. Givan Shenises, when she got married, he no longer has a schus to be able to be made for his daughter's Nedarim once Nesuin took place. Okay, Zaklal. And here's the general rule, which we'll discuss this at greater length. Once she leaves and she's now in her own rishos, even for a short moment, in yochel hafer. That now removes, and the Baal, even if he gets remarried, he cannot be made for her Nedarim. Tanya. So the Gemara says like this. Almana grusha shamra harin nazira. So you have a case of an almana or grusha. She said, harin nazira, I'm going to be a nazir when likashiyasena, when I get married. So she's saying it now when she's not married, which is the Amira, but the Chalois will be at the time of the marriage. Finises, and she gets married. So Rabbi Shmuel Omer Yofer, the husband, is able to can be made for it. Why? Because she's saying that I want the Chalois to take place once I'm married. So even though the Amira was before she was married, but the Chalois is at the time when it actually took effect, was while they were married, and therefore the husband has a right to be able to remove this vow. It says the Ran, the spherely the basa Chalois and nederazli the blo basa Amira. Rabbi Kiva Omer lo yafer. He says no. Rabbi Kiva says he can't be mefer because she wasn't married when he said it. When she said it, and therefore we go Basar Mira. V'simana yilali, which is Yafer, Lo Yafer. Okay. Eishes ish amra harein nazira, likish is garish. Let's say she says, I want, and she's married now, and she says, I want this nazirus to happen when I get divorced, but it's garshin, and then she gets divorced. So if you go Basar Mira, here's the opposite. If you go Basar Mira, so since she said it at the time of being married, so the husband should be being mefer. Yishmol Omer lo yafer, because you go Basar Chalois and Neder. In the time of the Neder, of the Chalois and Neder, she's divorced. Rabbi Kiva Omer yafer, because you go Basar Mira. So we see again, whether you hold one of these two opinions, it's Bein L'Kul, Bein L'Chum. Omer Mishmul. So Rabbi Shmuel, who says we go Basar Chalois and Neder, which again, according to the opinion of our Mishnah, it's not like the Shita of Rabbi Shmuel, but rather like Rabbi Akiva, that we go Basar Mira. So Rabbi Shmuel says, I can tell you through Psukim that I'm correct. I'll show you that we should be going Basar Chalois. Why? Rabbi Shmuel, how are you? So what is this pasuk talking about regarding this woman? Actually, the Ran said v'simanach yolei, with right. It says kalamer b'bari shayna tani yafer v'hader lo yafer b'bachrayna tani lo yafer v'hader yafer. Okay, all right, which is similar to the beginning of Masechtas Brachos, same idea. Okay, so the pasuk says v'neder omen agrusha v'gomer achi neder b'shas almonus v'gerishin. He says it's only at a time when it was the neder actually took place while she was an almana and a grusha. right? So that's what it's referring to in this pasuk, that it says that Yokem Aleha, that it works, is because at the time of the Chalois, she was an almana or a grusha, and therefore it's all totally on the Chalois. We keep saying now, you Omer Kol Asher Osra al Nafsha, whatever she asks on herself. He Isure Neder B'Shas Almanas V'Gerushin. So according to him, he's actually of the opinion Pumfakert. Says the Ran, Shekol Hoch Achar Shosh Shehu Neider. It all goes after the time you actually made the neder, which is the Shas Amira. So, what do they do with each of the psukim? Okay. Amr Bechista. So, Masnis Rabbi Kivi. It's pretty clear from our Mishnahs, we already said that when it comes to a neder, we go Basar Mira. That's the time that it's said. So, therefore, as we said, if she's a Rishos Abal, so in that situation, the husband can be Mefer. Even if it was Lacher Lamed Yoim, doesn't make any difference. So Abaya Omer no Filatem Rabbi Shmuel. It's possible our Mishnah, even though it seems very clear, like the Shita Rabbi Kiva, it's possible that our Mishnah is also like Rabbi Shmuel. Why? Because Masnisin Talia Nav Shebi Yoime. Our Mishnah, it mentions a specific date. It's dependent on a specific date. 30 days. And since it mentions a specific date, we'll see the Ran what this means. Therefore, it's in that situation, even Rabbi Shmuel will agree that you go Basar Mira. In that situation, you will go after the time it's said, because your focus is on what you're saying now, not on the Chalois. Brisa Tali Nafshim and Nesuin. However, the Brisa is talking about a time of Nesuin. And therefore, we go Basar the Chalois HaNeder, because it's talking about an action. And therefore, your thought is on this time, not 30 days, not a day, but an action. Okay. Sholmu yoime v'nis garsha, sholmu yoime v'nis misnasva. So again, according to him, it's totally by the Chalois. Says the Ran. The Chi Azor Rabbi Shmuel Basa Chalois and Neder. When does Rabbi Shmuel say, and disagree with Rabbi Kiva, that you go after the Chalois and Neder, the time it actually takes place? It's only when they actually, when you retire of a Nesuin, marriage or divorce. Hilkach kivan di'ef shirli amiras haneder v'chalois haneder shirishus echad. Since they're married, and then you're talking about getting divorced, or vice versa. So these concepts contradict one another. So therefore, you can't have both. You can't have a miras and neder, chalos and neder. Svirli Rabbi Shmuel de'aslin and basa chalos and neder. We go after the time of when it actually takes effect. It's just a time. The days can be completed. V'mitzvah, didn't get married. Shomi yomei v'migarsha, the days can be completed and get divorced. There's no contradiction between the two things. Mighty Rabbi Shmuel the basar amira azlin and v'basar chalois. In that situation, we will go basar the amira like our Mishnah. Okay, so that's how we are answering this question. That it's possible that even Rabbi Shmuel, who normally goes basar chalois, could be like our Mishnah, because our Mishnah is contradictory statements. And therefore, it's not shaykh to have one without the other. And therefore, over there in our Mishnah, we go basar the amira. However, when it's shaykh, we're talking about marriage. It's possible that you just didn't tally not again shomi yomi, the day is completable in the skarsha. Then you didn't get divorced, you didn't get married. So therefore, in that situation, you go basar chalois. Okay. Needs a shtickle work. That's the push-up shot of the reading of the Ran. Zeklal. So the Sefer of Mishnah said, here's the general rule. Diktani Gabi Nar Hamarasa, regarding this woman who's a Nar Hamarasa. So this is actually Le'el. This is not from our Mishnah. When it talks about Nar Hamarasa, it includes Halacha'av, if the father rather goes, Im Shulchi Abal, sends her with the Shulchi Abal. That once she's given over to not just her husband, but even to the Shulchi Habal, O Shaholchu Shulchi Av, Im Shulchi Abal, they go together. But Nar Hamarasa, Shiaviu Abal Mafir Nidaraha. At that situation, that time, regarding the din of a Nar Hamarasa, now b'shutvis have this notion that the father and the husband are made for the neder. So the answer, since the father or his shliach is still around, so she didn't actually leave his rishus in that situation. Zekla de Tani Gabi, ve'elu nedarim le'asuye masar al v'shulch habal, shemasar shulch al v'shulch habal, shenabal mefer b'koinmin. And when it says our zehaklal, Gabi ve'elu nedarim, if let's say the father was moiser to the shluchei habal, to the husband, to the shluchim of the bal, or shemasar shulch al v'shulch habal. She'ein habal made for b'koinmin. At that point already, the husband is not able to make, cannot be made for in the nedarim. Question 10. Zeklal kol shul yatzur rishus atzma shoachas aviu bal mafir nedarim. Zeklal yasuye mai. So asui, it's going to conclude actually what we said. Halach av im shluchei habal. If the father goes with the shluchim of the Baal, de'afal pi shenimsara l'shluchei habal, even though it was given over to the shluchei habal, lo yotzim rishus av. She has not yet left the rishus av. So that's the chiddush. It's coming to include that she has not left the father's rishus, even though on some level she has been given over and she's not in the hands, so to speak, of her father, but says the father went together with the shluchei habal. The din is that she has not left the Rishus Ha'av yet. Okay. If you look in the Ran, Zeklal, Bepirkin, Nedarim Arasahu, Nan Zeklal, Kol Shelo Yatzu Rishus Atzma. So it's basically the same thing as our Mishnah, but it's the opposite. Anyone who has not yet left the Rishus Atzma, Sha'achas Aviyu Bal Mafir Nedareha. So that's what it's coming to talk about. Kol Shaloi. So in other words, our Mishnah, the Zeklal's Kol Shiyatzer Shasatzma. Here, it's quoting from a previous parak of Kol Shaloi Yatzer Shasatzma. So it's not from our Mishnah, but the Diak maybe, the opposite situation, that as long as she has not left the father's Rishus, so then the father is still made for the Nedarim together with the husband. That includes even if he was moist l'shluchei habal. And Zeklal Diktani Gabi Ve'el Nedarim, which is in our parak, we assume which in that situation he cannot be mefer. So the Gemara concluded if once the Masar Al Shulchei Habal, once the father completely gives her over to the husband, so then she's considered to have left her shus. Oh, shemasr shluchei Al Shulchei Habal, or the shluchim of the father give her over to the shluchim of the Baal. In that situation, now at that point, the father does not have the ability to be mefer, and also the husband, she'ein habal mefer b'koyman. Okay. Let's see the next submission. We'll see if this is really an offshoot of 3, but it says there's 9 situations of a girl that her nedarim stay. In other words, there's no one's going to be mefer, have the ability to be mefer the nedarim. So if we look in the Ran, Hanach Teisha Kul Isnu B'chlal Tlos. The truth is they all fall in the category of 3. Dahainu Yisayma B'chaya Av. One is she is a Yisayma B'chaya Av. Her father's still alive, but she got married, and therefore once even if let's say she got divorced or she's an almana, her father no longer has her shus over her because at this point, once she was married, that's it. She's left the first shus of the father, as we saw. Second, v'yasema mamish, if she has no father literally died, or ubaygeris, or when she reaches the age of 12 and a half. So we're going to really say that those are the 3 main things. So let's go through them. Boygeres, vihi isaima. If we're dealing with a situation where she's a boygeres, and she's a isaima, she was previously married. So let's see the Ran. She made a neder when she was already past 12 and a half. The Yisayim b'chaya av. Doesn't mean her father died, but it's b'chaya av. She got married. When it's almanu nisgarsh, the kivan sheni says when she got married, shuv enu avi or shuswa. But the truth is, it doesn't make any difference because even as bogeris, the same as the din is the same. But not only does the father have no ability to be made for her nedarim because she's a bogeris, but also because she was previously married. Second, says the Mishnah, Naira, let's say she made the neder while she was just a Naira between 12 and a half, ubagra, and then she became a bogeris, v'hi yisayma. And again, this is talking about the exact same situation. Even though, because she became a yisayma b'chai av, same situation. It doesn't matter if she made the neder as a bogeris, or she made the neder as a Naira and then became a bogeris. And also, we're talking about a situation where they were actually married before, so in that situation, the father no longer has any connection. As we continue now to pay testament base. Naira shelo bograv yisayma. Or let's say she's a Naira, and she never became a bogeris, but again, she's a yisayma. The reality is that even in that situation, the din is, because she is a yisayma b'chaya av, so in that situation, also, the din is that she, no one could step up because she was previously married. Those are three cases. The next three is really these three cases her fathers had died, really died. Yisayma mamish. Either bogeris umesavia, she was a bogeris and her father died. Or let's say she made a neder as a naira, bogeris, she becomes a bogeris umesavia and her father died. Naira, she made the neder as a naira, shalol boger, and she's not a bogeris umesavia, and her father died. So in all these situations, really the same idea is that the point is that since the father has died, that she's a yisoma mamish. So the din is obviously there's no one to be made for. Third case, which we're going to say is cases 7, 8, and 9. So these upcoming cases are we're going to see because she's a bogeris. Naira, she made the neder as a naira. Shemei savia, her father died. Umishemei savia bagra. And she became a bogeris. Bogeris, she made a neder when she was a bogeris, Rabbi Kayim, and the father was alive at the time. Naira bogeris Rabbi Kayim. She was a Naira, and her father's still alive. Or she made the neder as a Naira, she became a bogeris, and her father's alive. So again, even if the father's alive, he can't do it because she becomes a bogeris. So we know if she gets completely married, if her father dies, or if she gets married, or she's sues a bogeris, I'm not sure if I said that one first, all these situations, all these permutations, you can say 9 cases, or at least 3, the din is that they are, her neder is kayim, and that's it. Rabbi Yehuda adds something to this. He says, Af hamasi bito katana. Even if once you marry a girl who's a katana under 12, V'nis almna onisgarsha, and she becomes an almana or grusha. V'chazra, and you remarry etzloi adayin hinaira. Says the Ran, v'adayin hinaira ashminan diafil ha'isa katana kishinises. Even though when you married her she was a katana, which since the father was alive at the time, so it's beaten the satisha zeh, so it's a kedusha deraisa. Yotzer shosavia. Mehanun Nisuin. Since Nisuin took place, it doesn't matter even if she was a katana when she made the neder. When it says the words adayin hinaira at the end of this Mishnah, hu adin nami defil hi katana. Doesn't make a difference, even if she's still a katana. Kivan shenises, when she gets married, in Olivia Rishusba. Behind the knock of naira, so why does it mention naira? Nishum din nidri katana inu klum. Because the neder of a katana really is nothing. So therefore, we want to link her now to an age where her statement actually has some meaning. Okay. Okay, let's hold off for question 11. Let's just continue. So, Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Rab, Zu de Rabbi Yehuda. These are Rabbi Yehuda. V'chacham Amrim, Sholosh Naris Nidrein Kayamin. She says there's actually 3 cases where the Nedarim are Kayamin. Bogeres, V'yasayma, which means that her father really died. V'yasayma b'chayav, which is referring to Nisuin. Question 11. Elu hein gimel naris shumanu chachamim shindreim kayamin. So even though it's 9, again, question 11 is a bogeris, a yisayma, because her father's dead, or yisayma b'chayav, because of Nisuin. Okay. Question TB5. Mahi Yisayim b'chayav umi mefer nidarah. What is a Yisayim b'chayav, which means she got married, and then she became an almana or gerusha, yotzer mishus aviyah b'nesua zu he Yisayim b'chayav ein la mefer. So that is a situation. I'll just put this as together with question 11, but this is TB5. Pretty posh understanding that question. What does it mean Yisayim b'chayav? It means the father's still alive, but she had to sue it, and then she got divorced or became an almana. In that situation, the father can no longer be made for her nedarim. Okay, let's see the next Mishnah. Masnisin kainim she eni nehena la'aba u'avicha. So she makes this neder and says that I'm not going to get hana from my father or my father-in-law im oisani al picha, if I do something which will benefit my husband, or she'eni nehenis l'cha, that I will not get hana from my husband im oisani al pi abba ve'al pi avicha, if I do something beneficial to my father or to my father-in-law, harizeh yafer. In these situations, you are able to make a hafara, and on this the Ran says nir be'enai the lozu avzu katani. This is really, one is connected to the next, second wide line. So he says, we're talking, she says this language, im oiso ani al pi abba v'al pi avicha, debaha betana, her condition, since it's really not one of these two things, because it's a condition totally on someone who is not her not her husband. Maybe he can't be made for. Kamash one kivan the talasa tana bedavar shehi asui la'avor love she efshel isha shetamid atzma shlotasa lavia. It's impossible for a woman to stand by herself and not do anything for her father and father-in-law. He can do so. The Ksavar Tana Masnisan, the Chiyai Gavna Bal Mefer, he can. Alphabi Shloi Chal HaNeder. Okay, even though the neder is not Chal, he could still be Mefer. Okay, so basically, it's pretty interesting Chiddush. Here again, the neder wasn't Chal, yet it's a machlokus. We're going to see if you can yet be made for this neder. So our Mishnah is going to be like the Chachamim, that you could still be made for a neder even though it wasn't Chal. So we're going to see maybe all this machlokus is by hafara, but not by a Chacham being mater. Okay, which we'll maybe see. Let's see. So the Gemara, Tanya, she'eni nehenas la'abul avicha, regarding the ratio of the Mishnah. She says, I'm not going to get hana from my father or my father-in-law, im ani oisel aficha, if I do something beneficial for my husband. So Rav Nasan Omer lo yafer chamim yafer. So our Mishnah is like the Chachamim, and according to Rav Nasan, he actually disagrees, and he says that lo yafer, that you cannot make hafara. Says the Ran, Nira Li, it seems to me that Tana de Braisa nami nokat hani tre gavni, that the Braisas also come to teach us two statements. We only saw one. Ravusa Tanakam Ravusa the Rabbanon. The first statement is the Chiddush of the Rabbanon, namely, even though it's not Chal, the neder is Kayim. And actually, let's stop for 1 second around. Let's see the rest of this Gemara. Netulani min Yehudim. She says, I'm going to distance myself from all Jews. Im mishamash teach, if I have relations with my husband. Rav Nasan Amar lo yafer. So again, it's a machlokus, and Rav Nasan here again says by Tashmish that the husband doesn't make hafara. So that's a chiddush or avus to Rav Nasan. To begam the kama, according to the first statement, nodra b'inoi nefesh. There's an element of inoi nefesh. Ukurabanan, the sviril hu bahanas ploini olai, that even one person, like your father or your father-in-law, constitutes inoi nefesh. So therefore, just like if she would say, Hanas ploini lie, that I'm not getting any hana from this one person, that's considered to be inui nefesh, in which the husband should be able to step up. However, and therefore also when it comes to the father-in-law, it's also inui nefesh, which is why it makes sense that l'chayra, according to the Chachamim, you can mean mefer. You can be Amar Shmuel Alibaihu Le'el Bepirkin Utana B'Devarim Shebin, that according to this opinion, that it's actually a situation of something related to the husband. If I derive any hana from if I do anything which benefits my husband, since the Tana b'chad gavna, in the ratio of the Mishnah, the neder didn't even take effect yet. So the machlokas again is if you can be mefer since it was based on a condition. Even though it wasn't chal, nonetheless we say according to Rabbanan it's yefer. Why? So she's answering something which is to the husband, which is tashmish. Since right now it's not chal, so it cannot be mefer. Okay, so that's the basic basis of this machlokas. Adkan.